Andor freaking finale, y'all. This is it. This is the end. We've been so freaking spoiled, and now here it is. It's over. Oh my gosh. I mean, I really feel spoiled now because that freaking cliffhanger. I kind of don't have anything to say. I have no freaking predictions, but I'm really freaking nervous. I feel like Cleia's not gonna make it out. She doesn't want to go with them, whether she has a choice or not. Like, they're literally like begging her, please just freaking get out of here with us. But she doesn't see Yavin as an acceptable alternative for her to go from what she's been doing at Luthen's side to go there, you know, amongst everyone who kind of really doesn't like him. She'd rather not go. So I don't know what her fate is going to freaking be, but I feel like, you know, she's spewing all this. She's regurgitating what she freaking can. Everything that she has memorized. She's trying to give this to Cassian and Melshi to be like, you are responsible for this. He is the messenger. Oh my God. Cassian is the messenger. I mean, I really hope Kleia maybe survives. I think there could be a scenario in which she just doesn't go with them, but I think that they know that they are literally all in danger, right? They've got to know. K2SO's out there carrying this on his shoulders, y'all. Thank God we got him. He intervenes. He can be a little bit of a distraction, but I feel like they're gonna catch on really quickly that they don't have much time left. Season 2, episode 12, the series freaking finale. Jedha, Kyber, Erso. Let's go, team. Holy frick, last round. I can't freaking believe it. No, this is the last time we're seeing this. I just cannot
believe. Yavin. After all of this. What a bitter ending.
Nothing's ending. You're keeping Luthen alive.
Yeah, please convince her.
Big words.
You need to see the place you helped build. You need to tell them what you told us. I'm not leaving you here.
Anyone else with a tactical line failure?
Back in the game! Oh God! Oh Jesus. Alright, thank God it's at least a long hallway.
Still no comms.
We're wasting time.
Yes, thank God she's going.
Is that it?
Y'all, I don't want to rush you, but do they have a side door? Do they have a different entrance? Oh God. Oh!
You can stop right there! Go, go, go.
Mel.
Slowly raise your hands. No sudden movement.
I mean, we know he's gonna be fine, but oh God.
Hold your fire.
Well, what now?
This is a warrant search. This is your first and final warning.
We can still close the door. We'll be trapped as opposed to what? Okay. Okay.
Thank See, I don't mind seeing him use his powers the other way around. Oh God. Okay. Run, y'all. Oh no. Okay. Good shot. Don't tell me that killed her. Oh, what a beautiful sight. Oh, put him in his plate. Oh! This is crazy. I freaking love K2, y'all.
Cassian, I've cleared the path.
What did we ever do without K2, y'all? Okay, she's not dead, thank God.
Hey. You're welcome.
Explain this. The rebellion is bigger than all of us. When you feel inconvenienced,
All I hear is how small and how fragile it's all become.
This is more than inconvenience.
Why should I believe anything you say?
We know you're on Jedha, Saw.
How many more meddling squealers have you set my way?
I'm trying to help you. It's the Empire that's after you, Saw, not us.
If only you could fight, as well as you lie.
Oh! The de-ossification of Mon Mothma has begun. She got that Rogue One haircut, y'all, too.
You're sure he's in Jedha?
He's been warned.
We've been probing his team for over a year now. It's an active operation.
Sir, Admiral Radis requested you join him. The missing U-wing. There's a situation.
Is this Andor?
I believe so.
With a stolen ship? On an unsupervised mission?
You could make that case.
He's like, yeah, I'm used to it.
Makes the Senate look easy, doesn't it?
You're lucky Merrick's away. He'd go shoot it down himself.
Let's hope that's not necessary.
I have the answer. We could be anybody. They'll figure it out. Disobeying orders is so refreshing.
This all kind of makes sense why Cassian leads the charge to hijack a ship and go to Scarif. All of this is actually painting a very vivid picture of what we know him to be like in Rogue One.
Plan to tell them I was kidnapped.
Stop right there!
Hello.
Just us. She needs a doctor, please! Weapons down.
Right. Have important news.
I certainly hope so. Come with me.
Oh, that transition.
I went to save an old friend. Of that, I'm guilty. It's what I learned when I got there that made us come back so recklessly. Luthen is dead. Luthen Rail had a source in the ISB, a supervisor. He just learned that the Emperor's secret energy project was the cover story for the manufacture of a weapon.
What kind of a weapon are we talking about?
There's a connection between the Gorman destruction, the Kyber mining on Jedha.
All of this conveniently wrapped in a big energy program basket.
Luthen Rail died for this.
And
Fight
how
for
has that
him.
been verified?
It's hard not to wonder if your judgment here might be less than objective.
I'll have to disagree. It's everything I know about Luthen.
Someone who's been a thorn in our side since we began building this alliance.
Did you know him?
Heck yeah. Fight for it.
Any of you? When I say I know Luthen, I mean I know the good and the bad. But none of that can take away what he did and how hard it was.
Yes.
But it's insulting to hear him run down by people who have given a fraction of his sacrifice to this rebellion.
Enough!
Eat them up!
When's the last time you two spoke?
When he had me rescue Senator Mothma from the Senate.
Drag them.
Duly noted.
Yeah, and whose team was corrupted, Bale?
A lot can happen in a year, wouldn't you
Not me
agree?
being sassy with Bale.
I'm afraid it's just as easy to believe that Luthen was the one being played.
The web of doubts that he created, it makes everything unbelievable.
So we do nothing?
As of now, Captain Andor, you are forbidden from accessing your ship and confined to quarters.
Not me beefing with Bale right now.
Requesting permission to visit the infirmary.
Permission granted.
Thank you, Mon. This actually all makes so much sense now why he friggin' does what he does in Rogue One. I cannot believe. I'm so glad she made it out. I was getting so friggin' nervous, y'all.
It's a lot for them to take in. All at once, it's a lot. I'm doing what I can. I promise.
I thought we were having breakfast. Luthen's dead. I need something. They brought back some curious information. Help me believe him.
How the heck does nobody believe Cassian? Everything he's put in too. Thankless jobs all around, y'all.
I have some bad news.
You gonna find Luthen?
He's dead, Will.
This is crazy. They all
You
left
made it
him
work.
for a reason, but they're all still hit by it so hard. Like, that's crazy. Like, yeah, they have the reasons for leaving, but look at all of them. It's still...
Will you drink to Luthen?
Just this once.
Can't toast them all, can we?
Gorn,
Nemik, Taramin,
Cinta.
the Gormans, Ferrex, your mother, the Danis.
The last survivors of Aldani, y'all. I don't know why it just really got me.
Mon wants to know if your Luthen story is real.
He died for it. Does it matter what he did to us along the way? None of this exists without him. None of us are here.
There will be times when the struggle seems impossible.
Don't hit me with Nemik's manifesto.
Remember this. Freedom is a pure idea. There are whole armies, battalions that have no idea that they've already enlisted in the cause. Even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. The imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear.
Just keeps spreading, doesn't it?
It's been hard to contain.
Who do you think it is?
I told them I'd bring you down.
May I have a moment to collect my thoughts?
I guess they've also just been broadcasting Nemik's manifesto. No. There's so much to freaking process. Oh my god. Cleo, what are you doing?
You should reconnect with Biggs.
She wouldn't be safe with me. It's too late for that.
She might disagree.
Once this settles down, maybe.
Don't wait too long.
He doesn't have much longer, y'all.
I'm sorry about Luthen.
I don't even really know where I am.
I have friends everywhere. You're here with friends.
We've been released.
They threw us out. Tired of listening to them.
Tivik's on Kafrene until tomorrow. He'll only meet with you.
That doesn't sound promising.
Jedha, Kyber Crystal, and ISB Mourning. They're dying to get us in motion. Now, Tivik keeps calling us. If this is all a trap, it's a brilliant way to spring it.
How do I get to Kafrene?
Frick. He still thinks about her.
Waking up humans is always confusing.
Sleep well?
No.
Then we have something in common. General Draven has your orders. Proceed to your contact, learn what you can. If I die fighting the Empire, I want to go down swinging. May the Force be with you, Captain.
It's so eerie and haunting knowing all these people are going to be dead in like 3 days' time. Jesus. Oh my god, this is just crazy. It literally does go right into robot. Look at all these folks who actually survived, y'all. Belle survives. Will survives. Oh my god. Of course he's already got... Hold up, that's his daughter's mother-in-law. God. Not surprised. Leia survived and against all odds. Oh. Oh my god, is she in freaking jail? Is she wearing an Arcana suit, y'all? I can't believe it's over. My heart's Is she? This is freaking... Oh my god. I'm gonna cry because this is gonna be over. I don't want it to be.
have a flight plan.
And then he goes and shoots that guy. Like, that's crazy, y'all.
Get us out of here.
Luthen didn't have him decommissioned. Oh, it's Biggs. Y'all, if she's... oh my... Y'all called it! Holy shit. Alright. Holy, they were not kidding. When they said that literally goes up to... Well, holy frick, y'all called it. Biggs with a baby. They truly were not playing around when they insinuated. When they said that this will make you look at Rogue One a completely different... Holy frick. A completely different lens. I'm really just crying because this is over. Genuinely, I'm so sad right now because it's over. Some of the best Star Wars ever. Because crazy enough, the rest of it, we got most of our tears out in episode 10, and then the rest was like just a lot of anxiety leading up to, obviously leading right to the doorstep of Rogue One, so this was less tragic than I really thought it was going to be. And there was saying, look at all these survivors. Wilman, Clea, Vel, shout out. Dedra survived, y'all, but she's a freaking oh! I know everybody was suggesting that Dedra was going to be stationed on the Death Star or whatnot, or Scarif, but I was steadfast. I was like, listen, I think it can be a worse fate to live and have to live with the weight of all of your decisions, all your failure and mistakes. And she's gonna have to live with that, all right, y'all. She's on program. I was like, is she wearing a Narkina 5 jumpsuit? And she freaking is. That's a fate worse. That's like worse than death, y'all. In my opinion, there are some things that's worse. If you're Dedra, to be in jail, to go from literally being at the top, and y'all know how Narkina worked. She's never getting out. She's never getting out. She doesn't have an expiration date. She's never getting out. So yeah, she's gonna have every waking moment of the rest of her life to sit and toil with everything she's ever. I mean, she really actually freaking gets what she deserves. And I cannot believe here I am saying like. That stinks for her. I cannot believe my girl boss, Dedra, who I was even in the very freaking end here, y'all, right up until this, because everyone's still coming for her. She has clawed her way so freaking much. She fought so freaking hard to get to where she was, and she finally got everything she wanted to her on a silver platter, and then there she is at the top just to frickin' come crumbling down again because Luthen kind of was the end of her. Cassian was a foil for Cyril just the same way Axis was for Dedra. You know, it was these two little gnats just flying around that the two of them would never be able to forget about because they just kept biting. They would never be able to just like wipe them away from the back burner of their subconscious. And you know, you could argue Cassian was the undoing of Cyril. You know, he really shot him first with those few words, "Who are you?" Taking Cyril aback before the final blow, the real shot. And, you know, Dedra with Axis. She's gotten everything she ever wanted, but she could not let that go, and that is what led to her demise. And of course, it doesn't help that everybody around her is always waiting for her to freaking slip. And the second she does, that's when they can swoop in and steal her valor, steal her glory. So God forbid, there it was, still like a little tether, maybe not rooting for her morality anymore, because she has traded that in a long time ago. There was never, ever. She's past the point of no return. Sold her soul to the devil, the Empire. She was beyond the point of any return. I never imagined that for her. I think I always just envisioned maybe there would be a flicker of morality and humanity in her. I don't know. And yet I still, she never lets you down in terms of she'll always side with her ambition. She was also a cog in the machine that just chewed her up and spat her out like it did with, Cyril. But this time, Cyril met a quick end after realizing, his situation, the reality of him being a cog in this machine all too late, whereas Dedra is going to have the rest of her freaking life to think this through. Are you kidding? She's in jail after everything. Oh my, that is just crazy. There are fates that are worse, in my opinion, that require you to just sit every waking moment, the rest of your life, with the weight of your actions, the weight of your mistakes, and the atrocities that you have committed. And if anything now, it's all come back to bite her in the butt, because she's going to be suffering this prison system that frickin'... That's what was so... Chef's kiss brilliant about that. They didn't need any further elaboration. We know what she's in for, because they just spent, a whole arc in season 1 dedicated to showing us how oppressive and flawed, their judicial system is. It's all in favor of the Empire, and the little man gets squashed and thrown in jail with an expiration date that continues to rewire itself, that continues to never actually die down until they reset it or fry an entire floor. That is just crazy. So, she's suffering from what she spent her whole life dedicated to helping to create. That's freaking crazy. Partigaz, why was he so moved listening to Nemik's manifesto? I guess, does he know him? Was Nemik perhaps a son or grandchild? But I think he too, realized, maybe not all too late, but just was overwhelmed, overtaken by the reality of what they were actually, enacting with the Death Star and the totality of what it would actually be capable of, and the fact that it was all really actually coming to fruition. People suffer on both sides, but this show has demonstrated so incredibly through such phenomenal writing and character arcs, and obviously the performances from the actors. The show has demonstrated how even those within the system, even the oppressors, nobody's winning. It really does go right up, right into this is like a movie. If there was to be a prequel film before Rogue One, it's this is it. And it's so crazy. I think the biggest, most emotional revelation of all of this is the reality of Luthen's role. Yes, he is absent. Yes, we do not know that he exists in Rogue One, but that's the point. He's the first loss that leads to, the catalyst of them even discovering this and even having a chance to stop this. Similarly to how then everybody on Scarif is the following loss. There are so many stages of loss along the way before you get to the names that we remember, which are Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia Organa, everybody who's then responsible for really bringing down the Death Star. But all the tears, all the lists of unknown and forgotten and, thankless names in the process, which was why it was so good to hear Cassian chewing them out to fight for Luthen. And that was just, that's on writing, y'all. The fact that, off screen, Luthen probably drove them all to the brink, hence why they all bailed and left, and they are on Yavin now, and Luthen will never go there, and they know that. That's maybe the one place that they will be safe from his clutches and his manipulation and tyranny over all of them, because he just drove them to the brink of their freaking insanity and treated them like cogs in a machine similarly, treated them like droids, treated them, I don't think he ever viewed them as expendable, but I think he taught them to adopt that mindset of lock in and accept that you're taking fate into your hands, but it's all for the cause at the end of the day. If anybody remembers him fondly, it's even Cassian, who perhaps had some of the most heightened tension with him. It's the ones who beefed with him the most, that butted heads the hardest, that perhaps cared the most deep down, whether they realized it or not. Hence why that was really just crazy to see. All of them in their own way had expressed that they were free from Luthen's reign over them, but they all were still shaken and took a moment to just cheers to him and acknowledge that literally true. None of them would be there without him. And so that is kind of one of the craziest revelations of all of this. Really, Rogue One would not be happening without Luthen. And yet he is not named or not addressed. He is non-existent. We had no idea who he was before this. That's honestly the biggest takeaway for me. Like, Rogue One, none of that would have happened without Luthen. And, you know, his name will go down on the same list as everybody who then goes to Scarif and dies there, of the list of many that we already, you know, Cassian and Vel, that really got to me as they were kind of listing all the collateral in all of this. The last two survivors of Aldhani, you know, Clem, Nemik, Farva, Cinta, the Donnies, everyone on Gorman, everybody who has been lost to this, that has been a spark in the fire of the rebellion, you know, that would not exist if it weren't for them. But yet this also really just painted a picture. You know, Cassian, he was having his rebellious streak this season, and obviously when we see him in Rogue One, he's still snapped in, locked in, going to take orders, but he's the first to lead the charge to be like, let's commandeer this plane and we're gonna go to Scarif. He never loses that streak. He's gonna decide for himself. He'll take his fate into his hands, but his larger purpose in all of this, you know, he follows his gut. Same with Kleia, you know, she's not involved in Rogue One, but she freaking fought and freaking survived and was willing to die to get this information to... That speaks volumes as well. It's like, yeah, she would have rather been anywhere other than Yavin, but she was still desperately trying to get them the information. That reveal with Bix, y'all called it. I didn't think it was gonna be for real. Whether she knew she was with child or not, when she willingly left, I do still genuinely believe, and I will stand by the fact that I think that was plenty enough of a catalyst for her to go voluntarily on her own accord. She had such strong premonition, like the spirit just moved her. She believed with all her heart and soul that Cassian was destined for something bigger, and that she, you know, had no choice but to make that decision for both of them to help him realize that. I still genuinely believe that that was a large enough, a significant enough catalyst for her to do what she did. So whether she knew that she was carrying a baby or not, that's still that's crazy. That obviously is all the more heartbreaking as well when you hear that he's, you know, casually thinking about when all this is over, perhaps I'll reunite with her. I cannot believe that this is over. That's why I'm like so emotional, y'all, because nothing about this, shockingly, this actually, like, in terms of the emotional damage, was pretty tame, because it's like, well, actually, yes, now that we're here, it's like, okay, this literally leads right into Rogue One, so nothing too traumatic or crazy is gonna happen, because they're prepping for that traumatic craziness. All this setup and build up and everything that Cassian really had to fight for to get them to freaking listen and believe him, because God forbid this message was coming from Luthen of all people, who, you know, they didn't necessarily trust. You know, the fact that they kind of roped him in similar vein with like Saw Gerrera, when we see Luthen and Saw beefing, you know, they had their own tensions. They didn't even trust each other in season 1 of Andor. And for the two of them now to be perceived in the same boat by, you know, everybody here on the council of, you know, rebel leaders at Yavin, that's kind of like crazy, because it's like Luthen and Saw didn't even really like each other that much either, but they're being compared and roped in as, you know, extremists in different ways. I don't want to believe that this is over. That's really honestly why I cried again. There was nothing necessarily inherently emotional other than seeing who actually survived, because I went into this like, who's making it out of this season, y'all? And actually a good number of folks did. That is freaking speaking to me, the fact that I'm breaking down sobbing at the realization that this show's over. Like, how crazy is that? I've never cried because a show just ended. This was hype. This was like, go turn on Rogue One, y'all. It's about to autoplay on Disney Plus. Like, but I think genuinely I'm crying more just because this is over, and I can't believe there is pain in my soul right now, because the standard is just so high, and this exceeded every expectation that I had, even coming off of season 1, where the process of realizing what we actually had here, the gold mine that is this show, the brilliance of the writing, the characters, the development, the production design, the costuming, freaking everything. Every single person involved on this show brought their freaking A game, and so to see it come to an end, I want more. But I know I shouldn't, because this is This is what we came for. This is what we bargained for. They wanted to be able to tell this story, and they got to. And the fact that happened on its own, and we got some of the craziest shiz ever in Star Wars, some of the most harrowing and tragic, yet moving and emotional things in Star Wars. The fact that this has cemented some of my new favorite characters and the entirety of Star Wars. I'm mourning the fact that maybe is just lightning in a bottle. This show will always remain, for me, like historically, as just some of the most moving Star Wars I've ever experienced, and that's why I'm sitting here crying that it's over. But the fact that it even happened, not even that, but just the fact that it happened, and the fact that they were able to heighten and maximize and create a whole new experience on Rogue One, which already was kick-ass to begin with and has been one of my favorite freaking theatrical Star Wars experiences in the past decade or whatnot. Jesus, that's crazy to think about that it's like been that long, but the fact that this blesses us with a whole new perspective on a film that I already really loved, like, there are just endless gifts in this show is all I can say, and I'm gonna just appreciate that it even happened, because throwback to when they first announced an Andor spin-off series, y'all, what could that possibly entail? And here we are, eating our words. Genuinely, thank you guys so much for watching this second season with me, for all the roller coaster of emotions that this was. Andor Emmy sweep when? If there is not, y'all, we ride at dawn. I'll catch y'all for an Emmys watch party to watch them all clean up and get what they deserve. Sweep the frickin' floor, y'all. Let's lock in. The campaign starts now. The revolution starts now. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to everybody who was involved in this show. I'm gonna get choked up because genuinely, this has been some of my favorite Star Wars ever. Thank you. Thank you so much for this. I don't want it to be over, but I'm going to try to not be selfish and greedy. What did you guys think about this finale, the second season, all of it? Frick, I don't know when I'm going to see y'all next, but it's not going to be for Andor. Motherfricker, it's not going to be for Andor, but I'll see you for something. And if you joined here during the second season, if you had never seen one of my videos before and you found my reactions during this season, thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful that you're here and watching, and hope that you enjoyed. And if you happened to stick around or even just share your thoughts in a comment, I've really enjoyed the discourse on the channel in the comment section. This whole season, this show, I think just unlocks great writing, sparks great conversation, and it's been so fun to frickin' just be able to chat more about it in the comment sections of all these videos. So I'm genuinely going to miss that as well, the sense of community that I feel like this show has generated by just sheer epicness. So if you joined, if you've tagged along during season 2 here, thank you so much and welcome aboard. Hope you stick around, and I appreciate you being here. Hope you guys are doing so well, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye, guys.